bringing you home.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Your Property Journey. Episode High 5. Thank you to everyone that has been watching the video so far, that have subscribed, that have shared it with anyone that they think would be interested. I truly appreciate it. Let's get right back into it. So today's episode, why use a bond originator? So I had planned to interview one of the bond originators that I work with, but life happens and things happen, and that's why I'm not recording from the office today. I had to work on a plan B, but I am still going to go through all the answers because I sent her a top 10 list of really good questions and she has sent me those answers. So I'm going to go through it all with you. It just won't be as exciting to have someone, in as part of the interview or as part of the session, but I will try and make it exciting for everyone. So let's get right into it. Question 1. What documents are required to do a pre-approval process? So the way it normally works, she will send you an email, and in the email it will show all the documents that you need to submit to her, as well as a spreadsheet that she gives you, and you need to populate it. So you need to insert all your expenses and things like that, right? So you will need to provide a copy of your ID, your latest 3 months pay slips. If you are self-employed or have your own business, you will normally need to submit more like 6 months or years depending on the circumstances of the business. If you are employed, it will be 3 to 6 months bank statements. Also your proof of address, your income tax number, and if you are self-employed or have your own business, you would need to submit certain financial documents and a letter from your accountant. And then from there, she does the pre-approval based on all the information that you provide. How long does this process take? So as soon as you submit all your documentation to her, she begins the process, and pre-approval typically takes 24 to 72 hours. That is 1 to 3 days, depending on how quickly documents are submitted and verified. Question 3. How does the credit score rating system work? I always find this very interesting. So your credit score reflects your credit worthiness based on your past credit behavior. So they look at your payment history. Are you skipping payments? Do you pay less than you are supposed to? Those type of things. Your debt levels. How much debt do you have? That's also very important. Do you have many short-term loans? Lots of credit cards, things like that. Also, what type of credit do you have? Do you have credit cards? Do you have loans? Do you have retail accounts? So they want you to have some kind of credit or debt to see how you pay your accounts and things like that. So they need a history or a record. But also you shouldn't be opening accounts all over the show, because that's also not a good idea, a good reflection. Then they also look at your credit age. How long have you had the account? So for example, a Woolies account. How long have you had your credit card? All of those type of things. And how many new credit inquiries have you done? And also they look at how many credit applications have you done. So if you are applying for a home loan, if you are applying for a rental property, somehow that also counts against you, which I don't understand how that makes sense, because if you are trying to get a rental, how is it your fault that there are other people that are getting the property before you? Anyway. And then of course that all equals or totals your score, your credit score. So obviously the higher your credit score, and the better rate you basically have. There are various websites and companies that offer the services for you to check your credit score and your credit rating. You can just Google that. I'm not going to mention any for free advertising, but normally you sign up and your first credit certificate or whatever you want to call it is free. Okay, and then you can check it on like an annual basis. It's also a good way to check if there are any accounts that have been opened in your account in your name that you don't even know of. Unfortunately, there are so many scams and fraudulent activities happening nowadays. So it's a good idea actually just to check your credit record so that you don't get surprised, because I actually heard a story in this week from a client that signed an offer on a property, and only when they did his checking of his accounts and things, they noticed that there was numerous accounts, retail accounts that was open in his name. Okay, question 4. What banks do you work with, or any bond originator? Bond originators work with multiple major banks and sometimes niche lenders. This allows them to shop around on your behalf to find the best deal. So how it usually works is they will look at a few banks, all the banks or whoever they work with, and they will get quotes for you. And then based on that, they'll send you all those quotes. You will then decide which bank gives you the best rate, the interest rate, or the best lending period, because you can pay off a loan or you can apply for a home loan for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and some banks even go up to 30 years. Of course, that reduces your monthly payments slightly, or increases depending on how you look at it. And then it will be clearly explained in each quote. So in the quote, you have your bond initiation fee, the bond amount, the period that you are going to be paying off the bond, what your final amount is with the interest, which is for the entire period, and a few other items and information that you need, but that is the basic gist of the information. And then based on that, you will then decide, okay, I'm going to go with bank B or bank C because they gave you the best rate. And then you submit, you or at least and then you inform the bond originator which bank you're going to go with, and then they put together a final bond grant which you then submit to the agent that you're working with. Okay, so question 6. What happens once I sign an offer? So when you sign an offer with an agent, and you can only sign an offer once you have actually viewed the property. If you're not able to view it, someone needs to view it on your behalf, or you can do a virtual viewing, but there needs to be some kind of confirmation that you are seeing what you are intending to buy. Okay. And also you can only sign an offer with the agent that you viewed the property with. There are some crazy agents out there doing, yeah, extremely unethical things. So once you sign that offer, the bond application is the offer application is submitted to the bank, right? You then receive and compare the offers, and then you choose your preferred offer, and then the bank grants the final offer. You will then submit that document back to the agent that you signed with, and then they will then submit that with your they will then submit the quote. Sorry, they will then submit the final bond grant with the offer that you signed to the relevant attorney that has been appointed by the seller. There is also your bond registration attorneys, and that is decided by the bank. So essentially, you'll be working for two attorneys. It can be a bit confusing, but the transfer attorneys will keep you informed of the process. So you will be signing two documents essentially, one for the transfer of the property onto your name and the other for the bond registration. Of course, if you are purchasing with cash, you'll only have the transfer documentation that needs to be signed. And then also, um, occasionally or in some instances, the sellers are happy to use the attorneys that the buyer requests, but it's a simple question that normally the buyer can ask the seller if they are happy to change the attorneys. Question 7. How long does it take to get a final bond grant? Usually 5 to 10 working days after submission to the banks, but it depends on how fast documentation is processed at the bank and if there are any complications. So complications can refer to anomalies being picked up by the bank in terms of, I don't know, your banking account or your payslips or your credit record, or if you have your own business, there's maybe certain documentation that is outstanding and they need to request. So then they will ask you to request additional information or documentation from your accountant, those type of things. Okay, we're almost there. Question 8. What about costs and fees? So in terms of the bond registration fee, you have a transfer duty and attorney fees, and in bank bond initiation fees, which is charged by most banks. That cost will also be included in the quote. You will see that, and then your the bond originators, they do not typically charge a fee. Okay. I don't know of any bond originators that charges a fee, but yeah, the one that I use don't. So if you are purchasing a property with a bond, you'll have your bond registration fees. Let me just make that a little bit clearer. And in terms of the transfer fees, it will be the attorney fees that you need to pay, duty fees, admin fees, things like that. There are apps such as Uber is the app that I normally use, and in there you will be able to use different calculators, and you can get an approximate amount if you put in the value of the house, and that if you are taking a bond, then you put that also in, and then it will generate an approximate fee in terms of your transfer fee and your bond registration fee. Question 9. What if my application is declined? What can the bond originator do? So the bond originator will find out from the banks what the issue or the problem is that was picked up, and if it is something that the buyer could potentially fix or find out what it is, and then resubmit to the bank. They could possibly also check with the bank what the reasons were for the decline, and then they will inform you. And they will also provide advice how to improve perhaps your credit rating. And if you were declined, they would provide some information on how to fix up your credit record so that maybe sometimes within 6 months you can reapply if you follow the advice that they give. So question 10, how can I improve my credit status? Pay your bills on time. So a few days late is fine, but skipping payments um, and not informing the company or that is definitely going to affect your rating. Reducing credit card and loan balances. So making sure you pay your credit off on time. That's it. Avoid taking on unnecessary debt. So not making unnecessary loans or opening accounts all over the place, too many cell phone accounts and things like that. Keep your credit inquiries low, which is what I spoke about earlier if you are renting or looking to rent. And also review your credit report regularly so you can pick up on any issues and errors, like I said earlier. And that is the top 10 list for the bond originators. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed today's session. Next episode is just going to be a quick video with regards to the various property search websites and how to actually use them properly. Because I think many people don't actually know how to look properly at the different websites and do proper searches when they are looking for properties. So I will look at our Jawitz website. I will look at Property 24, private property, and a few other websites as well. And I'm also going to be informing you guys of a giveaway that I want to do next week. So I hope that you come back to episode 6. And please don't forget to subscribe and like and share and do all those things. And I look forward to seeing all you guys at the next episode of your property journey. Please don't forget